Do you crave validation but feel guilty or like you're being too needy for asking? Do you find yourself apologizing before you ask someone to reassure you or let you know if something is right or not? Do you say phrases like, I'm sorry to vent, but I know I'm being needy, but I hate to ask, but. And do you worry that your need for validation makes you seem weak and feel angry at others for not giving it to you, but also at yourself for even needing it in the first place? This is a common feeling. In the modern Western world, we live in a very individualistic society where people are expected to just get on with it and pull themselves up by their bootstraps, deal with their emotions, if we're even allowed to have emotions, by themselves. And everywhere we look, we see top self help people telling us, don't care what other people think about you. But it's so hard. And it's hard because it is wired into us biologically to care what other people think about us. And sometimes we do want other people to validate us. Sometimes we do want to be appreciated and acknowledged for the things that we can contribute or reassured and supported when we're not sure what we're supposed to do. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly why it is okay to want people to validate you, because this is a normal, healthy human need that you don't need to feel ashamed of. And I'll share a few tips on how you can notice when you might be slipping into caring or worrying too much about what other people might be thinking of you, and how you can find the right balance with that, with seeking healthy validation from people you love and respect. To do this, I want to share a story from my own life. So, recently in some of my therapist training, we did a weekend on childhood. And in these weekends, we sit in a semicircle with the trainer at the front. And then, normally at the beginning of the day, we check in. And basically, people chime up and they say how they're feeling in this moment, what might be going on in their life, and how they're feeling about the topic of the weekend. And as everybody went round, I was hearing them say all these things about their childhoods, and some of them had some quite weighty things. And I was sitting there feeling increasingly guilty because compared to what I'd heard from them, my childhood was quite good. It wasn't perfect, and I continue to heal from my family system and other things that have been imposed upon me from society. But I was sitting there feeling guilty for just being all right in that moment. And people kept sharing, and it went round the circle until it was finally me, and I was the last person to speak. And I knew what I wanted to say, but I really didn't want to say it. I felt constricted and I could barely speak. So when I had to speak, I said, I'm feeling really guilty for sitting here because I hear all of your childhoods and everything you've gone through, and I'm feeling inadequate because my childhood wasn't as bad. And in that moment, even though I wasn't asking for it explicitly, I was seeking validation and reassurance from the group. I wanted to feel accepted, even though I was feeling different in that moment. And I was really lucky because I was in a space with people who were training to be therapists, and they were all like, okay, that's cool. And even some people chimed up and said, that's completely fine, also. Like, thanks for sharing, but don't worry about it. And I felt really good about that. And then the trainer said something. She asked me, why did you feel guilty when you were sharing that? And I said, well, because I shouldn't care what other people think about me. That's stupid. And then she said, why is it stupid to want to be validated by other people? And I felt stunned. That's the opposite of everything that I'd sort of absorbed on my own self-helping journey. I mean, basic self-help rule number 1 is don't give a damn what other people think about you. But she completely turned that on its head and asked genuinely and warmly, why is it a problem that you want to be validated? And I'd never thought about it that way before. And it actually made so much sense. And it made me realize that it's okay sometimes to want to be validated. It's okay to care what other people think about you sometimes. We're social creatures, and you can't just live in this isolated bubble, not caring at all what other people think about you. Basically, she made me realize that it's not a bad thing to sometimes care what other people think, and it's not a bad thing to sometimes want validation. And so I've changed since the trainer said that to me. And I think differently now. I've changed how I view myself and other people seeking validation. And I've started to accept that I might want validation from other people sometimes. And of course, even in my efforts to not care at all what other people thought, I never really stopped. But now that I'm not resisting it, I feel so much more open to the fact that I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. And sometimes that means I want validation. And now what I do, because it is unhelpful to let your thoughts, feelings, and actions be dictated by what other people think about you. But wanting validation and allowing your thoughts, feelings, and actions to be dictated by other people are two very different things. There's a big gradient there between them. And so what I'm doing now is I'm just noticing whenever I feel that feeling of wanting validation coming up, and I'm thinking, am I worried about what other people think of me? Am I caring too much about what other people might think? Or am I seeking reassurance or validation for something that is important and means a lot to me and is going to be coming from people who I love and respect and want that validation from in a healthy way? And that's really the question. Are you allowing other people's thoughts and ideas of you to dictate who you are? Or are you just seeking some healthy reassurance? And if you're trapped feeling guilty for wanting reassurance and validation in your life, but feel like you're being too needy when you ask for it, or that you're asking for too much of it, you actually might not be. And the way to test that is to ask yourself that question. Who are you looking for validation from? Are you trying to control what they think of you? Do you want them to think a certain way of you? And what will you do if they do or don't give you that validation? Or are you just trying to fill a normal human need in you, which is to be validated by the people that we love and care about? And so that's what you can take away from this video. You can accept the fact that you need validation and that that's okay, and that part of that is healthy and normal. And then you can bring an awareness to when you feel that need for validation, and you can ask yourself, are you wanting recognition and acknowledgement from people who are important to you? Or are you seeking permission from someone else to be who you are and do what you want to do? If you've enjoyed this video, then thank you so much for watching. Please hit like and subscribe if you would like to see more content like this. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.